But I don't know, with the Madonna reference, it's funny because I never saw it until people started to say it.
Yeah.
And then I thought, okay, I can see that because I'm kind of, I say what I think, and I say what other people think they shouldn't say but are thinking, and
I bet you're a tough boss to work with. As she's
well, I'm very bossy, but I'm smart. So bossy and smart.
So I mean, I don't think there's no bad comparisons. You know, when people use her as a, and I understand why you don't really want to go there that often, probably because it seems sort of.
Well, it's also I just when I it's almost safer in a way to say how much I look up to David Bowie and because they're men and people won't. Truthfully, in a real way, I don't think that I'm like David Bowie. He's a reference of mine. I appreciate his philosophies. I honor who he was as an artist, and I think about what would Bowie do right now. It's not I want to be Bowie. It's how would Bowie do this? Or with Warhol, to get back to your question, today I think Warhol would have done what he did. Then, but in a different way. I just went to his exhibit in Paris, and it was funny because my team was screaming at me because I left the hotel for 4 hours. I missed all kinds of shit, but I really wanted to go. So I'm going through the museum, and something I learned while I was there is that he made his own fame using the fame of other people. In the beginning, with the silk screens, he purchased the photo of Marilyn Monroe, and then he repeated the image. He purchased the image of Liza Minnelli, and then it was repeated. So I think that he would have started in the same way, and he would have grown within this era. But perhaps it wouldn't have been those people that you mentioned. Perhaps there would have been other children of Warhol.
Yeah. I would think so, yeah. Not to belabor comparisons, but they, a few years ago, they were doing the same thing with saying that someone else was the new Madonna, and that, of course, was Britney. And then the sort of contrast, it seems to me, what happened was that we were all a couple years ago, and I'd imagine it was around the time that you wrote Quicksand, watching this just sort of sad thing play out in the media with what seemed apparently to be going on with her. And, there were cameras in her face every day, and this is getting back to this all ties in, goes back to the paparazzi and, every trip to the 7-Eleven and every time, she would get out of a car and maybe underdressed in some people's opinion, they were there, to capture it. Did you have any thoughts on that whole episode? I mean, things seem to be getting back on track, career-wise and personally for her. Did you have any thoughts on that when that was all going on?
Not really.
You just, yeah.
Because I have a weird philosophy about my work. I don't know how Britney works. I never worked with her in the studio.
Right.
I wrote that song for her, a few songs for her, but we always joke that when we're fucked up, we're doing our best work. So maybe she's doing her best work. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
Because when we are all hungover and mental and can't breathe because if I don't make this new electronic piece that I dreamt up last night, I'm gonna fucking hack my hands off. That's when we feel like we're real artists.
Of creative impulse.
I don't know, but I can't judge on it. I'm just saying that I don't judge other artists, and I don't care what anybody else is doing. I really don't. I care about work in the world, and I appreciate other people's music, and I love music and I love culture. And when it comes to judgment and criticism, that's something
enough of that yourself?
That's sacred in my house of creative people. If we criticize, it's very specific and it's brief, and it's only a note to improve our own work. I don't focus on other people. I am 100% focused on being as innovative and original and soulful. I cannot stress this word enough, because people believe that electronic music is soulless.
Right.
And it's not. And you know why it's not? Because the soul that I feel from my fucking beautiful fans at my show cannot be a lie. It can't. I've never in my life seen the intensity in their faces. I mean, they blood suck and kill to be together. I mean, there's glitter and there's sweat and they're dancing and there's hair bows, and they believe in it so much, and it's real. In those moments, it's real. They bring my music to life.
Why do you think that it has a reputation of being cold or soulless or robotic? Or
Well, I think that dance music in America was for a very long time kind of like underground and gay and not on the mainstream. That'll never get played on top 40 radio. And the party scene and vanity is typically just revered as soulless. I don't believe it's. I mean, I said in my Rolling Stone interview about my past, obsessively doing makeup in front of the mirror while I blew my brains out and listened to The Cure.
Right.
I think that was full of soul, and I learned a lot about myself, and I wrote some of my best songs at that time in my life. So I just mean to say that I don't really know what I'm trying to say. I'm just talking.